Okay, good evening. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen, Select Board meeting, Monday, August 21st, 2023, Waycott Meeting Room, Mashpee Town Hall, 16 Great Neck Road North, Mashpee, Mass. 02649. Broadcast live on local cable channel 18, stream live on the Town Hall Mashpee website. We'd like to convene the meeting at 6 PM, and we'd like to go into immediate executive session. So,
There should be a motion for somebody to,
Oh, wait a minute.
I have it. I move-
motion to enter into
I
executive.
move that the board convene an executive session to discuss the disposition and value of real property, 35 Lake Avenue, parcel 2820, 409 Main Street, parcel 3680, 415 Main Street, 2830, 0 Meeting House Road, parcel 6813B, and 0 Falmouth Road, parcels 6814 and 6816, pursuant to General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A6, and C30B, Section 16. The chair having declared that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on negotiating the position of the board, from which the board will convene in open session.
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Yes.
Aye. All right, now we off green?
We just gotta get Mashpee
Those-
TV off.
Yeah.
Try, shut it off here though, right? Not a new intro.
You have to do Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, all right.
Let everybody
Didn't expect none of the seats. All right, we're gonna convene the meeting in a couple minutes, so can we? Can everyone try to take your seat, please? There's a couple seats down in front, too. All right. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to reconvene our meeting in open session. And we're going to start with Pledge of Allegiance, please. Can I have a moment of silence, please? Thank you.
A motion to approve the following Monday, August 7, 2023 regular session minutes.
Second.
All right. For a second, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you, Carol. Appointment and hearings, discussion of draft town meeting warrant zoning articles. Building Commissioner David Morris. Am I coming up, David? And can I have Zoning Board of Appeals Chair Ron Bonvy come on up and, if you don't mind, joining them?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, David Morris, Building Commissioner, Town of Mashpee.
I'm Ron Bonvy, Chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Thank you both for coming in today. I don't know if one of you kind of want
Well, why
to
don't
choose goes first?
you want me to start, and you can,
Sure.
where I know we disagree, we can disagree.
Well, why don't we start with,
All right, start right with Article
yeah,
1?
go ahead.
So Article 1, I reviewed, I think it makes sense, Article 1. My concern is the last paragraph of Article 1, which I will read. For the purposes of this section, any lot who is partially impacted by the 100-year floodplain shall be considered within the 100-year floodplain. I think that should be stricken. I'll tell you why. If you had a lot that was, say, 10,000, 20,000 square feet, and you had a 1 foot by 1 foot area that was in the floodplain, you technically would be considered the whole lot in the floodplain. And I think that would there be some major legal pushbacks on this issue. I do believe that the article makes sense. Sitting on the ZBA, I've asked more than one engineer, when you fill in floodplain, what happens to that storage of that lost compensation? Meaning, where does that water go that used to go there? And they historically have said to me, it is such a small, minute issue, you shouldn't worry about it. And so then I take it to the next level and say, all right, let's just say that we're going to do 5,000 houses that are in the floodplain. Then at that point, they say, well, it would probably impact somewhere, somehow. I said, so you're saying that filling of floodplain really is not in the best interest of our community. So I agree 100% that we should reduce, if not stop, the filling within floodplains. I think it makes sense, but I also believe that the last sentence is not in the community's best interest.
And you're referring to Ron, the last sentence?
Right. For the purposes of this section, any lot who is partially impacted by the 100-year floodplain shall be considered within the 100-year floodplain. Again, a 10 by 10 area, 100 square feet, that's in the floodplain, shown on a site plan. Somebody has an acre lot. The whole lot is then considered in the floodplain. I think you'll find, if I were to litigate that, I could probably win that one because it is not based on science. It is only based on, and floodplain maps historically are based on science. You're taking the science out of that map, and you're saying if you're in a little piece of the floodplain, then your whole lot's in the floodplain. I think that's a problem.
I can agree with it, what he just said. If your house is not in the floodplain, it's not in the floodplain, but, so I can agree what he said. That being stricken makes sense. That line being stricken.
Would you like me to continue on to others, or?
Yeah.
Mr.
Yep.
Chair, I
Okay,
have-
great.
I'm sorry,
I have
go
a
ahead.
question.
All right, so Article number 2.
I'm sorry, Ron, hold on 1 second. Michaela has a question.
Thank you. Before we move on to something else, I just have a question about what you were saying about striking that. So for the purposes of this section, how much of the lot has to be in the floodplain?
Any of it. So if you were to build a house on a lot, and that house was in the floodplain, let's say the whole lot, let's say half the lot's in the floodplain, half of the lot that doesn't have the floodplain, the house is being built on, correct me if I'm wrong, David, then technically that house, right, is not in
Is
the floodplain.
not in the floodplain.
So my point is, but you're not filling that floodplain to build that house. You're building outside the floodplain, you're not reducing flood storage, you're building on outside the floodplain, which has been mapped by people more intelligent than myself, in reference to that specifically. At that point, you can fill under that house or around the house, but you still cannot fill within the floodplain. You're still getting what you want to obtain, in my opinion, and that's flood storage, you're keeping it in place.
Thank you for the clarification. So for now,
Good.
for now.
So, in no way can landscaping fill in that area either?
Well, I'm not so sure about that, because it states, no person shall fill, place, or dump a flood any so, yes, I would agree with that. The only issue that is exempt would be Title V septic system, use of material for the septic system, and I think that makes total sense. So to answer your question, it is my opinion that the article as written would exclude, which would not allow you to use loam, rubbish, debris, rock, peat, or anything else to fill in that floodplain. You could not use any of those components to fill in the floodplain. And I think it's also very good that you have to put an alternate, an AI system in. I think that is 100% on track. I think that should be included. So I think the article is written, other than that one sentence, I think makes sense.
Let me just ask a question, it's only because I deal with this. So, in a situation where you have a lot that was an abandoned cranberry bog, and so they excavated the fill out of the lot area and had a cranberry bog that takes in water on rainy days, that's it, nothing other than that. Can that be brought back to its original state with the abandoned cranberry bog? leveling? I
so
know
one would have-
conservation previously would not allow that.
So, Tom, one would have, so there are cranberry bogs in the world that, to the best of my knowledge, are not in floodplains. But I can tell you this, I've seen in the town of Sharon, cranberry bogs being done away with or whatever, and then brought back to a different designation. I don't know if you could do that any longer. That would be a conservation question.
It's,
Okay.
It would not be.
and they have a 150-foot setback from cranberry bogs. It's really not the same thing.
Yeah, I was just curious as.
Yeah,
picking your brain on
that would be a conservation question that in this town, Drew, et cetera, and
Fair enough. Okay, appreciate it.
beyond my purview.
Everyone's good? Move on to,
Yep. So Article 2. So Article 2 is in reference to the ability, so I'll just read the explanation. The article would allow property owners who construct accessory apartments to live in their accessory apartment and rent their principal dwelling to tenants. Current bylaw language restricts a property owner from residing in the accessory apartment while renting their principal dwelling. I think this article makes total sense. I was a little bit concerned in the language in reference to ownership. It seems, my board continues to deal with ownership of lots and mergers, and it's something that is a headache for my board, and frankly, for this gentleman to my right, he deals with it every day. But I think this is probably less conducive to an argument as to ownership, and I'm less concerned about it. So at this point, I think Article 2 makes sense, as written.
I have no problems with it as well. I have no problem. I think it's good for the homeowners. Good option.
Article 3. So David's much bigger than me, so this could be a problem. Here's where we disagree, a little bit, I think. So I did some research. I have been on a lot of national boards and committees. And historically, the United States is trying to build smaller homes. Why? We're trying to build affordable homes, right? More affordable, let's put it that way. And so when I see, the ADUs going from, the possibility of going from 300, which this is, I think, incorrectly written. It says 350 to 450. I think it's 300. I think the existing law is 300. Am I correct?
Correct, yeah. The 350 here is not correct. That's on this warrant here, on the explanation. It's currently 300 square feet for the minimum size.
So it's asking to go, this article, from 300 to 450. I'm trying to understand, and this is on the bottom side. Let's talk about the top side next. Why do we want to, and I'll preface by saying the following, why do we want to go from 300 to 450 when, and I got this off the internet, we all believe the internet, right? It's always right. But I need to preface by saying, if you Google minimum house size by state, you'll see Idaho's 150 square foot. You'll see Kansas is 120. You see Michigan at 120. You see Mississippi, Missouri at 120. You see Arizona at 200. Alabama at 150. Massachusetts 150. Florida 120. It goes down. There's not a one of them that's over 200 or 225. Why are we setting the low side? And I understand the high side. There's a reason for setting a high side. Why are we setting the low side, which is right now 300? Why are we increasing that to 450? I don't get it. If we're trying to entice people to add on apartments/housing to their existing home so that we can house people in this community, why are we going from 300, correctly so, not 350, to 450? Now, I will say this. I looked up the International Residential Code, IRC, I think has a 320 minimum, 320 square feet. That's a national code that David deals with all the time. If the IRC is 320, then it may make sense to go from 300 to 320, because my opinion, the article should say something like minimum of 320 square feet, and said house or apartment shall meet all state and local rules and regulations. David and I had this conversation. We do not want to see tiny houses. There's a definition of tiny houses, and the definition is basically, a 10 by 10, 10 by 15, no kitchen or no bathroom, on a trailer in some cases. It comes in, they leave it on the trailer for a period of time, and then they take it away. Tiny houses are not what we're looking for, in my opinion, as a community. I don't think it would be in anyone's best interest to have a tiny house next to any one of our homes, right? But properly done, an apartment which would be sized appropriately to meet egress, to meet minimum one bedroom, minimum bathroom, minimum kitchen, all those requirements that the building code requires would make sense. And that is not a tiny house, because tiny houses historically do not meet existing code, although David informed me they're trying to change the code so they do allow tiny houses. Now, I don't think that's in our best interest as a community. But again, I think if you want to go up to 320, which would then be in compliance with, I believe, IRC, which is 320. But I don't see why you'd go from 300, which is existing today, to 450. I don't understand. I don't understand why you take it up that high. Now, my next statement is in reference to the top side. I get the 900. Probably would make sense to have a top number not to exceed, which is 900 square feet. I think you should take the percentage right out of the calculations. And talking to David, the area that he is having his problems with, and I can't speak for him, he'll speak for himself, is that percentage. But the way I look at it is if he's having issues, then David sends it to my board because we then have to deal with whatever issues, meeting zoning issues that he's having some problems with, and so it loads up our agenda, et cetera. And so my statement in this, in closing in this statement, is as follows. I think the 300 could go to 320. I'd rather see no downside number, but to protect David's concern and my concern about the tiny house, not a good theory. So maybe you go from 300 to 320. It fits right in with the IRC. Leave the 900 on the top side, take the 40% out, and I'll turn it over to you, David.
All right, so currently it's at 40% of the gross floor area, which is a tough number. What is a gross floor area? It's a tough thing to define. So it becomes a hassle. So I'm glad that, this proposal is getting rid of the percentage, but I do believe that we need to have a minimum and a maximum, and there's two reasons why the minimum. The main minimum is exactly what Ron alluded to, is tiny houses. So we get a tiny house at 300 square feet. Most tiny houses are probably 12 feet wide, and you can get 300 square feet. So I want to avoid that by going to too low of a number. It's what's suggested here is 450 square feet as a minimum, 900 square feet as a maximum. So the minimum, I don't like going down to where it currently is at 300. I'm not sure if I agree, if I know, I'm not aware of Ron's number in the IRC where minimum houses can be 320 square feet. I'm not aware of that, but my suggestion is, if the board wants to set the limits, I could go I was thinking 400 square feet as a minimum, 950 for the maximum, but I would not object to a 320 square foot minimum. It's more than what it is now. But the maximum, the reason why I would say 950 max out at that, because the energy code kicks in for any addition of 1,000 square feet. So now you can bring the whole house up. You're creating more of an issue for the homeowners than needs to be. So if we have a max at 950, you're not bringing more burdens or hardships into the picture. That's completely unnecessary.
Okay, and David, what do you think about the 40% and the 40%?
The 40%, what's proposed is gone, and I have no problem with it being gone.
So
it's a number, whether, I like it the way that we just have the maximum square footage and minimum square footage. I'll leave up to the board
You look next to
what
C,
numbers they
John,
want to
unit size, and
reach.
you look and read that, there's no more percentage in there. It's just, it's 450 and 900. I think David's saying, correct me if I'm wrong, you'd be okay at 320, but you'd rather see 400?
I would, just my suggestion is at 400, but I could live with 320 if you wanted to go to that small. It might be beneficial to some of these, every situation is different, but it might be beneficial for somebody if you went that low. And what we were avoiding is, somebody just rolling a trailer up there and saying, well, I'm going to live in this.
So
At 950, I would not go to 1,000 square feet.
So
you
so
would-
450 to 320, you both would be in agreement as far as a possibility, and 900 to 950 as a max.
Max. Which would be,
Anybody from the board?
I just had the question about the 900. Is there any reason to change the 900?
No, you don't
That
have
keeps
to.
you below.
I mean, I would go up to it, like I said, if the board inclined They can go to 950. I would not go to 1,000 because you're starting it's a whole different world right then.
So the 900 that exists here fits.
I mean, this is
The
the best.
900 is fine.
Thank you.
I see this as one of the best ways to get out of the box that we're in, where so many houses have been built on whatever size lots, and now we have to maximize the return of those housing units on those same land. And the only thing you can do is add additional housing units to those lots, right? I see the only way around that is something of this nature. The thing of it is I still believe, well, listen, we don't need to beat a horse here, so I think the 320 would work right.
Anybody else?
For me, just thinking through it from a design perspective, the 300 number, I mean, essentially, it's what, like a 17 by 17 foot house? I mean, to get a one-bedroom, kitchen, bath, one-bedroom, and kind of a living room, just what anybody would expect in a small apartment, I think you'd be challenged to get an 18
So
by 18.
they're actually doing less than 300 square feet across the United States right now. A friend of mine is doing it in Atlanta. He's a little less than 300, and it's convertible space, right? So what you're doing is you're eating in your dining/kitchen area that's converted to your bedroom when you go to bed. It's that simple. Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
and the only minimum room is a bedroom that I'm aware of, and that's 70 square feet. So you could have 2 bedrooms and still be within the 300 square feet.
Yeah. They're doing them, they're 200, between 200 and 300 square feet for a one-bedroom convertible house at this point in time. And they're producing them. There are people that's their mainstay in reference to production of housing.
And they can be attached and detached. They're not all just detached house. They're not, just a 300 square foot, box somewhere.
I mean, I could spend some time on that. I've visited a couple of the sites. I've visited several sites, convertible housing. It's really amazing to see how it converts and what goes on in them. I mean, it had to come if you think about it. I mean, people just cannot afford these numbers, as we all know. So, but it is, I can tell you right now, you can build a single-family, one-bedroom, convertible, small house in 300 square feet.
I don't see a family living.
Oh, no. You're
It's basically-
talking about maybe a teacher, maybe a fireman, whatever it may be. We're not talking about, 3 kids, 2, or even 1 child. They're talking about husband and wife possibly that have very little income. That's what you're talking about.
Right, a one-bedroom, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the typical one-bedroom use. You're not taking children in historically in a one-bedroom anyway, so. But I can guarantee you that 300 square feet can be utilized in a one-bedroom scenario with convertible spaces.
The fact that you have the room to expand and contract with the square foot makes perfect sense. I mean, that way it's open. I like the way you're looking at this. It's flexibility, and I think it makes a lot of sense to me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody good on this one?
Yeah.
So Article 4, I think that makes total sense in reference to a minimum 12 consecutive month timing frame in reference to, I guess, a lease. You may want to add in there that it has to be by lease. I don't know if you want to get that specific, but tenant at will becomes problematic when you're talking about 12-month periods or any periods, because how do you, number one, prove it? And number two, how does one oversee it as far as managing it liability-wise in the courts of this world? So I don't know how specific you want to get on this. I mean, I know at Southport, I enacted a law that says minimum 6 months, maximum 1 year. Why? I didn't want renters there. So that being said, but I said it had to have a lease, and the lease had to be reviewed. I'm not saying you should have a reviewed lease, but there's some component that may be missing in this conversation where someone can say, yeah, it's 12 months. We had this conversation last week. Myself and the renter, we agreed. It's 12 months and 1 day.
No, that's a good point.
Tenant at will.
And,
You have any-
yeah, if you want to eliminate, the boarding and lodging language and the renting of these things, 1 year does make sense because the boarding, the definition is like 30 days. So that, so you don't want to be renting it by the month. It's tough to enforce these types of things because you basically, it's tough to tell somebody what they can and cannot do with their own home, but this does make sense.
You could say lease shall be on file with the town hall, something of that nature. And I understand where David's coming from here. It seems to me a lot of these articles are putting more pressure on somebody to do inspections. I don't know who that's going to be, I guess. But it's going to require some effort and time. That's not my thing, but you can clearly see that most of these articles are requiring someone to oversee them or get involved in the overseeing of it.
Article 4.
I have a question for David.
Yep.
How would you get involved in this to make sure that they have a lease for 12 months?
Well, we are involved in it already, so most of the time, when we're doing these, most of these are relatively new, and people are the homeowners. I get them right from the permit process, so we can deal with that. We already are dealing with it in the current. It's not an easy thing to enforce. It's not easy to
Because this
keep
is-
track of, but we are keeping
Right.
track of them.
This is going to stop the summertime for people getting seasonal people in to rent for 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Yeah, we do have provisions for that as well. That's a short-term lease, and that's a different program that we have, basically mostly out of the health department. And that's enforced by the code enforcement officer.
But there's flexibility in that as well, right? That's what you're saying. There is some flexibility in the
Well,
short term?
not really, not with this. I mean, there is no short-term rentals.
Okay.
And I agree with that. You can't be having, weekly rentals.
Right.
It doesn't belong here.
Okay, so they don't have a lot of flexibility there. It's going to be a tenant for the year, and that's it, or? Unless they fall on hard times and they lose their-
Yeah, it's more normal to do that. You're trying to provide housing where we have none. And so a year makes sense.
Be nice to keep
That's the
families
goal of the
together.
project.
But again, I would recommend some type of a control on how that year is documented, right? Because,
Yeah,
No,
it's a-
but, I mean, adding the terminology lease,
yeah, I mean,
Kinda- it's something.
Yeah, something, I don't know.
Something that's not
I don't
there
know the
now.
language that has to be written.
That works.
all right.
Yeah, but it maybe just submitted to town hall or submitted to the building department or whatever, and that way it's on file, and he doesn't have to do any more than make sure that it's on file. But my point is without a lease, you're never going to be able to track it. Everybody's just going to say, or some people might say, is a better way to put it. And listen, I have a deal with a rentor, and it's 12 months and 1 day. Where,
So, Article 5.
Where did we get the article?
Article 5, I don't have Article 5.
Oh, that's right, we didn't ask. That was the tree that,
Yeah, I don't
That's-
have that. I would really, so that's the tree article?
that's the tree
I would
article.
love to get involved, and I'll tell you why. Most of other communities across Massachusetts do have tree articles, right? I've had my share of dealing with them, and I think our community should have some type of tree article. I have not seen the tree article, I didn't read the tree article, but I believe we should have some type of tree article that controls when, where, and how trees are cut. And I'm not talking about the tree in the backyard that might fall on your house, different theory. Talking about, more than 1 or 2 or 3 trees. And I think we should have something, but I have not reviewed it.
Yeah.
And most communities do have one.
Yeah, it makes
I
sense.
was,
It
I
makes
I
sense.
thought that was going to general bylaws. I was under the impression that article was going to general bylaws. Or is it not in the zoning by, is it going to zoning bylaws or
General.
See, I thought,
It's general.
yeah, so I wouldn't,
general bylaws? So I
so
mean.
different than the zoning
Yeah, I mean,
bylaw,
I
I
would,
wouldn't.
I
Right.
would be involved in that. I think the tree warden, it would have ultimate say in that. And again, the code enforcement officer.
But again, most communities that I build in or are built in, I think every single one has some type of tree article, some type of guidance in cutting of trees.
Well, thank you both, and that's what you have.
You got Article 12.
Closing. Is there one
I
more?
was supposed to review that, I did, I don't know if you wanted me to. If you didn't want me to, that's fine.
I don't even know what I don't have Article 12.
I don't think so, I don't think so.
It's 12, ends at 11.
It ends at 11. We don't have to.
So I've got Article 12, which is the special permit article about several large developments, the explanation, several large developments were permitted decades ago, special permit, several important
have it.
zoning bylaw changes have occurred since then.
I don't think that.
in this
don't
I
think
have
that-
mine from last time.
That's a citizen petition article, and after discussions with the town planner, I'm going to withdraw that article for town meeting.
Thank
Why
you
not?
on
That's-
clearing that up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Great
Thank you
job.
both, seriously.
Enjoy the day
Thank you.
and the night.
All right, we're going to jump right into public comment. Ken Dombrowski.
Hey, Ken Dabrowski, 3 Grayfield Landing. I want to talk about the shifting to 1%. Okay, let's look at it from a strategic perspective, okay? There is always going to be more worthwhile projects than there are going to be resources available to fund them. So that means some of them, nobody's going to get everything they want. Somebody's going to be disappointed. It's a fact of life. It is what it is. Second thing is, things change over time. The world we live in today is not the world we lived in 5 years ago, okay? We are in this all hands on deck moment with respect to wastewater funding. If you think that any aspect of the town is not going to get impacted by this, you're living in fantasy land. Everybody's going to get impacted by this. To try to say that one group is not is just, naive. Second thing is, when we talk about funding wastewater, I think right now we got to believe we're on our own, okay? Yes, do I think that the state and federal government should kick in? It's going to be great. But, there are other regional projects on the Cape that are not getting funded. The canal bridges, it's $4.2 billion was the last number I saw. They're both design deficient. The Bourne Bridge is structurally deficient, and they can't get funding for those. You think we're going to leapfrog the canal bridges? Again, if we get funding from the state and the federal government, that'd be great. But until we get a commitment, I think you can't count on it. You got to believe we're on our own. So once you get to that point, you can start thinking tactically. Okay, think about how you're going to fund these things. Are you going to load it entirely on the taxpayers, or are we going to try to make some shifts and cut back on some discretionary spending? We're not going to cut essential services. We're not going to cut the schools. We're not going to cut fire. We're not going to cut police. Okay, so that's like 2/3 of the budget right there. So you got to start looking at some of these discretionary things. And again, I don't want to pick on the CPC, but that's a big nut. I mean, it's over $1 million. You got to go where the money is, and that's a big line item. So I think, really, from a strategic and a tactical perspective, you really got to think about moving that 1%. Makes total sense. If things change and we get some funding, you can move it back. Lastly, it's how we think about the CPC. The CPC should be thought of as a tool to get state matching funds for anything we can shoehorn into it. Okay, historically we get about 30 cents, it's 30/70. So yeah, I mean, the classic example is what we did with the high school field. That was great. We were able to get matching funds for a portion of it. Some of it didn't qualify, but for the pieces that we did, we were able to do that. Yeah, if we can start shoehorning stuff into the CPC that we're going to spend money on anyway, yeah, I mean, let's go back to 3. But again, it's one of these things where you got to think of it as, it's a tool. It's not an entity unto itself. It's a tool we can use for match funding. And lastly, and I'll be respectful on this, is, you know, again, I've looked at all the public information. Right now, the last couple of years, they basically, we've spent everything we've put in, and we're sitting on the $7 million bucks. So again, you could easily make that shift. It's going to cost, you know, about $750 all in, including the state matching. So you can run out a good 5 years without getting, you know, to the point where you're strapped for cash. And even if you were, the CPC can borrow.
Thank you, Ken. If you don't mind, just, we're going to get right back to no, you're on your 3 minutes, Kate. I'm going to get back to public comments, but we have 3 public hearings, but I believe they probably will go pretty quick, and then I'm going to get back to public comment, so bear with me. So the 6:35 public hearing, alcoholic beverage license amendment, change of manager, Mashpee Oriental, Inc., doing business as Asia Palace, Feng Yan Ren, manager.
Are they here?
Are they not here?
Nope, they're not here. So we'll have to put that one on.
Are we sure they're not? Yeah, okay. All right.
6:40.
6:40 public hearing, alcoholic beverage license amendment, transfer of license, Elevated Crust LLC, doing business as Wicked Restaurant, Anthony Bartolomei, manager. And that's a discussion of possible approval of alcohol beverages license amendment, transfer of license.
Want me to read the public hearing?
Yes,
Pursuant to the Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, subsection 16A, the Select Board, acting as the local licensing authority for the town of Mashpee, will conduct a public hearing on alcoholic beverage license application of Evaluated Crust LLC, doing business as Wicked Restaurant. Anthony Bartolomeu, manager, for the transfer of the license number 00074-RS-0670, located at 35F South Street, Mashpee, Mass. Said hearing will be held Monday, August 21st at 6:40 in the Walk Point Meeting Room at Mashpee Town Hall, 16 Great Road North, Mashpee. Good evening.
Good evening, members of the Select Board. My name is Attorney Frederick Grosser. I represent Elevated Crust LLC through its principal and sole member, John J. Bartolomei Jr. He's the 100% sole member of Elevated Crust LLC. Elevated Crust is seeking the transfer of the existing license presently held in the name of Wicked Restaurant, Inc. by Mr. Robert Catania as its president and principal therein. Before you is Elevated Crust's application. You'll see in the application there is the acquisition of the businesses through an asset purchase agreement with the existing Wicked Restaurant, Inc. It is further subject to a consent and assignment by the landlord at Southgate Village, which they have consented and assented to as we speak. Mr. Bartolomei, of course, often known as Chef Jay by many of the constituents, as you know, owns the Villaggio restaurant, so has a present wealth of experience. He himself is now a third-generation restaurant owner, dating back to his grandfather's original restaurant, then his father's at Johnny Restaurant, and now Cafe Villaggio through at present moment. So he does have an experience and has been approved currently with the ABCC as we speak as well. So therefore, ultimately, we're seeking the transfer of the license as it exists. It's an all-alcohol annual license in accordance with 0074-RS-0670. Beyond that, all of, I believe, the applicant's exhibits have been attached to the application. I meet the proper criteria. Happy to answer any further questions the board may have.
anybody on the board have any questions? Anybody from the public? No questions?
I motion to close the public hearing.
Second that motion.
Any discussion? Not having any? Kayla?
Yes.
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 And I'm a yes.
A motion to approve the alcohol beverage license.
Second that.
Any discussion? Not having any? Kayla?
Yes.
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 Yes, and good luck.
Yeah, and I'm a yes.
Good luck.
Thank you, members of the Select
Congratulations.
Board, very much.
Excellent.
Good luck.
Good luck on that.
Wayne, were they not outside?
No.
Okay.
We have one more.
And next one, we have 6:45, public hearing,
I'll read it.
private to public conversion.
You want me to read it? Pursuant to the Town of Mashpee General Bylaw, subsection 150-6.10, the Select Board will conduct a public hearing on Monday, August 21st, 2023, at 6:45 to address the private to public road conversion of Chickadee Road, Debbie Lane, Manitoba Road, Metacomet Road, Noheben Road, Neshobe Road, Pontiac Road, Somerset Road, Wamset Road, Whippoorwill Circle, Wills Work Road, as shown on the plans entitled Pontiac Road, Metamucil Road, Somerset Road, Metamet Road, Neshoba Road, Noheben Road, Wamset Road, in Mashpee, Mass., dated May 31st, 2023, and prepared by Cape and Islands Engineering. Said hearing will take place in the Wacoit Meeting Room at Mashpee Town Hall, 16 Great Neck Road North, Mashpee, Mass.
Thanks, Carol.
Yeah.
Good job on that, Carol.
I guess, is there anybody here that objects, or?
Dennis Belzerini, 176 Whippoorwill Circle. I'm here against the taking of the roads. I don't know if you guys been down there. Tom used to live down there. The roads ain't bad. There's a few of the drainage systems that I think in-house we could take care of them, like maybe every year, 2, 3 at a time. Another reason why there's a lot of people in that neighborhood are on fixed incomes. And when I did the math, it's going to cost around $1,600 more a year for 20 years. So that's around about $160 a month. A lot of people on fixed incomes, that's a pretty big nut to swallow. And then I heard we're going to get a $230 more on a tax for the sewer. It was, the estimated tax that was going to come, the increase. So that's another, $2,400. It's adding up too much for the people to do that. And besides, the town was supposed to stop taking over roads. These roads ain't bad that the town has to, we're in dire needs to have the town take them over. There's a few people in the neighborhood that make it a mountain out of a molehill about these roads. But there's a lot of people in here, I don't know if they're for or against, but I believe they're against this road taking. So I like you not to take this, to put it on the agenda for the Springtown meeting.
There's 157 property owners.
About 7 of those properties are on green spaces. So that's another question. Who pays for that? Does the town pay for those green spaces, or the association get billed on each one of those green spaces we have in the town? Do you guys know what that?
I don't know that.
Yeah.
Mr. Collins?
I'm not exactly familiar, Dennis, with what parcels you're referring to.
On my neighborhood.
Oh, I know where you live.
Yeah, down the end, where the docks are.
Yep.
That's a green space. And then on the other neighborhood, we have another dock system. That's another green spaces. Then when you drive around the neighborhood on Chickadee Lane, I think it is, or Debbie Lane, Chickadee, there's a green space. That's in my neighborhood, Whippoorwill Circle. And I believe on the other neighborhoods, there's 2 more or maybe 3 more. I'm not sure exactly where they are.
I know the DPW director standing over there, but I believe the association maintains those?
The association pays for them. So when we vote, we have to have 51%. So I think there's 151 property owners. They're property owners.
Right.
So that means they need 76 votes to make the town take the roads over. So those properties that are green space that we have to pay for, they have no vote, right? Or does the association can vote for those properties?
I don't
Tricky-
believe the
tricky question,
association
huh?
voted for those parcels. I think it was just the
Okay, it's just the
residents.
homeowners. That's what I believe that to be true. All right, so that's my spiel on the roads. And the CC, the funding money, if you look at it, we bought a lot of open space. That's the best bang for the buck we get of helping with the wastewater. That means those open space lands can't be developed no more. We did the wall memorial. I mean, I understand the sewer's gonna be costing a lot of money to do, but we do a lot of good with that money, and it does help with the wastewater treatment plant. We restored the rivers, and we do the propagation for the shellfish. We did the war memorial right over here. There's a lot of after school projects. I think you're hurting yourself by cutting that. And I understand we need the money for the sewers, but I like to keep that money because the state gives us the funding too. So we get a lot of money from the state that we can put that money into the sewer systems, to help with the sewer systems. So I hope you really think about keeping the fund in there. Okay, I did my 10 minutes. I'll see you guys later.
Thanks, Dennis.
So they're all here for the road taking.
Right. So does anybody else want to speak?
Against?
I have a question.
Sure.
Bill Lundberg, 63 Whippoorwill Circle. Dennis was talking about $1,600 per year more, plus $230 or something additional taxes, for like a total of $2,400 a year more. My understanding was if the vote was taken and the city, the town took over the roadways, it would be 5%, well, it would be a payment over 20 years at 5% interest and would add up to about $900 per household per year. Is that, which of those is correct?
It says cost per property owner is $18,468.
Right.
How you fund it
Right.
is up to you.
Right. But if you chose to do it over 20 years at 5% interest, is that about $900, or is that more like what he's talking about, $2,400?
Yeah,
If you do the math, they included the
gotta
insurance.
get people at the mic.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you can, if you don't, you can take a seat. Maybe someone else will come up and, does someone else want to come up and speak?
Well, then I have two questions, I guess. Ken Konikowski, 95 Whippoorwill. I believe the total amount that was in that document that got sent out included the interest. Don't remember the exact number,
Yeah, it
but.
does, $138,000.
Right, so then that total amount, which was 2 million, or
$2,899,000.
when you divide it by 157, comes to that 900 and change number per year. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. My question is, has anybody thought about, now we're putting sewers in the town, and we've got projects underway to do that. My understanding is our particular neighborhood is far down the list in years before we get sewers. But to me, it would seem kind of silly to do all this reconstruction and spend all this money to then, I don't know, 5, 10 years down the road, rip up all the roads again to put in pipes. So has anybody thought about that? Is there any way to put in dry pipes, not connect them to anything, but at least so you don't have to tear the roads up that you just spent all this money on somewhere down the road?
Mr. Collins?
I believe that's Phase 5. If we're doing Phase 5 in 5 to 10 years, that is going to be greater than the Miracle on Ice.
Fair enough. Thank you.
You were ready for that question.
I didn't expect that.
Is everybody here to, come on, if you'd like to speak?
You got to
You
come
gotta
up to the mic.
though. So this way the public can hear you and, yep,
So the original engineers were,
please.
Name.
Your name and address, sorry.
Clarissa Farolito, 16 Manitoba Road, Mashpee.
Thank you.
So the original engineer's report in May did not include a 2-mile stretch of Wills Walk Road, and now it is, and I can't find the engineer report online, so I don't know if it's up here somewhere or where that would live, because if you read it, it does not include the 2 miles of Wills Walk, and the way it's written is we're paying for that.
No.
Catherine's saying no.
Yeah.
So it's confusing, and I can't find the report online.
DPW director.
So if that's a question, I'll have someone else clarify your answer for you.
But you understand the question?
Yep.
But is the engineering report available?
You are going to get an answer.
Okay, so I leave now.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Thank you, Catherine.
Move over here. The project does not include any improvement to Willsworth Road.
Okay. Did you hear that? So is everybody, I'm trying to look for a consensus if not everyone wants to speak. Is everybody here to support?
Show of hands.
Can I have a show of hands?
Supporting the project.
Yeah, supporting the petition article. Correct.
Road taking, supporting.
Yes.
The road taking. Are you in support of the road taking?
We need more information.
So they have questions, so ask.
Yeah.
have questions.
Have them
If
come
you
up.
have questions, you'd like to come up, but if you need answers, you got to come to the mic and ask them, because
My name is Darian Homer, 66 Nahoyden. I'm the president of the association and a member of the road committee. Everybody on the board and everybody on the road committee is in favor of petition 2 going forward. We are going to have a big presentation in the fall to keep them private. We're still waiting for more information, which we haven't presented to the association yet. So everybody on our board, which is a 9-member board, everybody on the road committee, which is a 7-member committee, is in favor of going petition 2.
The thing is, we haven't voted on none of this. We haven't voted on none of this. They have to send out registered letters, so certified letters, to all the property homeowners to give us the right to vote on this. I don't care about the information. We already have a price what it's going to cost to do the roads. But before they send out notice to every property owner, so we have a chance to vote on this, I don't know how you guys can move forward with this, because there's a lot of people in here, I don't know if they're going to raise their hand against the road taking, but you haven't asked that question yet.
that's the next one.
Okay, but we haven't voted on this, and I don't care what he says about the board, the 9 board members are all in favor of this. It's the association that has to be in favor of this. He gives his opinion. That's my opinion, okay?
Could I ask
Thank you.
one question?
Yes.
Dennis, how many members are there in the association?
There's supposed to be 151 members, and I believe that's what there is. But, now, if they send out these registered letters to us to vote for, if they don't return the vote, that's a no vote, right? You have to return the vote to be a yes vote.
This is a petition. Doesn't have.
Dennis, hold on a second.
Yeah, I think there may
Catherine.
be some confusion on the process. So this is in a response to a petition of at least 51% of the property owners in your neighborhood asked the town to put together an estimate on what the cost would be to become town roads. The point of the public hearing tonight is to present that information, which I believe you all received in the mail, and answer any questions that you may have on the process, on the estimate itself. If, after the public hearing, if you want to proceed with the town to take the road, a second petition needs to be submitted with at least 51% of the property owners signing. So this is in all of your hands. If you, after the public hearing, if you support it, sign the petition. If you don't sign the petition. It's completely up to you. It's not a decision for the select board. If the second petition is received, it then goes to the next town meeting.
Okay, so as long as they get, I think it's 57 votes, that'd be 51%.
Well, no, it's 157 property owners, so you would need 78.
All right, 78 votes.
Right.
So if they didn't get that 78 votes, it don't pass.
It does not go to town meeting.
So it doesn't matter if people send their votes back or not. They have to
You
get-
have to sign the petition. It's not sending a vote. It's signing the actual petition.
Oh, all right. So they have to go door to door and make sure they get that petition signed.
Or mail it, however they want to collect the signatures, but they have to actually sign the petition, which is then returned. All of the petitions are then returned to the town manager's office.
So at the end of the day, they have to get that one vote over the
Yes,
majority.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Approximately 78. So you're good.
My name is Jim Purcell, 137 Whippoorwill. From the standpoint of the town, what does the town prefer? What is in the best interest of the town for this? You've probably sat in situations before, and I mean, I can think of some things, but from the standpoint of planning and everything, is it better for the town to own the roads?
I'll defer to the town manager, but
There's pros and cons to everything, but from the town's perspective, obviously, there will be incurred cost to maintain, because when we add square miles to take care of, sometimes the DPW director will remind me that she needs additional staff if we are to do certain things. I know that we've had a recent discussion relative to all of the square miles that have been assembled over the last however many years we discussed, and the number was a little surprising to me. So there is a cost related to maintaining, and obviously, I don't know if you want to elaborate on that.
I mean, as the town manager mentioned, there are pros and cons, but really it's pros and cons for you as the property owners. It's, if the town accepts the roads, we're responsible, once the improvements are made, for maintaining the roads from that point forward, which is what the town manager is alluding to. So, we're in every year, we already plow the roads, but, we'll sweep, we'll clean the drainage infrastructure. When it's time to do crack sealing or resurfacing the road, that is all paid through the DPW budget, which is funded by you as taxpayers, but those costs you don't see, I guess, directly.
Yeah, so after we pay the initial cost, we're spread over everybody else's costs on an ongoing basis, and it's just a bigger burden for the town.
You're still paying as a taxpayer one way or the other.
But yeah, we're spreading it out at that point. Okay, thank you.
So again, just to clarify again, this is a petition article, so if, this is just like more of it's the hearing, that it's disclosure of estimated costs of what you would incur as part of the neighborhood. If you decide this isn't what you want, and even if you agreed to, if you were part of the 51% in favor of, this consideration, you can change your mind, don't sign the petition, and it will not come in front, again, it's got to be 51% of this neighborhood, of the 151, 158, whatever it is, 51% have to sign that for it to go forward to town meeting. Is everybody clear? As a consensus, because I never got to the question, can I show of hands of not in favor of going to, at this moment? Okay, and there's probably a lot unsure, but again, that's not for here tonight. That's for you to decide when you get a petition article, whether you want to sign it or not.
Got another question?
One last one, go ahead.
So Craig Robert, 44 Manitoba Road. I'm actually the treasurer on our
Can I have
homeowners,
it quiet down, please?
homeowners association. Just a couple points of clarification. There's 153 properties,
Okay,
right? And 4 common lots. That's how we get to the 157. Right?
Okay.
So the 4 lots that are owned by the homeowners association, they are not part of the petition signing? Is that correct? Would that be?
Correct.
Okay. And then just to further clarify Darian's point, and this is more for our homeowners association, we're all in favor of moving to petition 2, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're ready to.
No, we're not.
all right, got, sorry, please. Listen, he's speaking. Go ahead.
We're in favor of moving to petition 2. That does not mean that we're all in favor of signing petition 2, right? We're still considering our own private options.
Okay.
Right, so I'm just trying to clarify to everyone, this does not mean that we're saying, road committee and our board is saying, move forward with this, let's go public with it. We're still working out the details. So I just want to make sure that it's really clear Darian's intent is that we're in support of moving to the second petition, and this is just informational tonight.
Okay.
We have our own informational meetings that we're going to have because there's a ton of questions and a ton of things for us to consider. And it's going to take us months to figure this out and decide as individual homeowners what we want to do.
Okay.
So,
All right, so we're gonna move on. I'm sure, go right ahead. I didn't see you.
John Racicot from 87 Neshobe Road. On the private road to public conversion spreadsheet that shows $2,899,428, the $138,068 is interest at 5% over the 20-year period. Am I correct?
Yes. It's listed.
That's how you got to the final number.
Yep.
If one or more members of the community wanted to pay their share up front, they're not going to get charged interest, are they?
No.
No?
Okay. Thank you.
All right, motion to close the public hearing.
A motion to close the public hearing.
Have a second?
Second.
First and second? All in favor?
Yes.
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 And I'm a yes. All right, moving back on to, and again, the other public hearing is,
Give everybody a moment to
yeah. Next up, oh, you want to take a
We weren't going to
2-minute break?
We weren't going to take any questions from the board?
Oh. It's a petition hearing.
It's just a petition hearing.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, I didn't think.
a couple of questions.
I mean, usually if you,
If you have a question for the director, you can, you have a question? Can you go get
Catherine, grab Catherine then.
sorry, David. Usually it's a.
I was just waiting for the opportunity. We didn't do it on the front end, we didn't do it on the back.
Yeah, usually when these petitions, I don't.
So is Catherine still here?
I think he's going to get him. Huh? Well, because usually these
That was a good
things,
indicator.
they usually come in like a slam dunk.
But that's a lot of roads.
Huh?
That's a lot of roads.
Yeah, right?
Holy cow.
Thanks for coming back, Catherine.
No problem.
Just real quick before we get it back to public comment, Mr. Whedon, I believe, had a question.
So my question is, in the town's best interest, is it better to take the roads when they're in good condition, or, waiting and prolonging it and taking them when they're in poor conditions, as far as from a cost perspective?
It doesn't impact the town because through this process, the residents are paying for the cost to bring the road up to the town's standards. So it's certainly in the homeowners or property owners' best interest to do it when the roads are in good condition. But for this particular road conversion, based on the condition of the roads, I'm proposing a complete reconstruction. Again, looking at the town is going to own any improvements forever after the roads are accepted. So I'm trying to make sure that we're protecting, I guess, the taxpayers of Mashpee against, having to make improvements for at least any significant improvements for at least 10 years. So that's the goal with, if you just did a simple resurfacing based on the existing condition of the roads, you're not going to get that 10 years before you're in doing some significant work.
And so, just to enlighten my understanding, when you do this type of road taking, you bring it up to current standards. So
Correct.
You're going to upgrade the area to include stormwater controls.
Correct.
As part of the full reconstruction.
Yes.
So, I didn't know that it was proposing a full reconstruct at this stage, where
Right.
I was hearing that the roads are in fairly good condition. I didn't know if it was just betterments on the stormwater
Right.
within the layout.
Yeah, compared to some neighborhoods, they certainly are in better condition. But again, just looking at, protecting the town's investment, we want to make all of those improvements up front so that the taxpayers aren't paying for those in less than 10 years.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Thank you.
Michaela?
Just a quick clarifying question. Will's Work Road is not supposed to be on here, is that accurate?
It's not part of the neighborhood. So Willswork Road is technically a state road. It is not. Their entrance for Whippoorwill is partially on Willswork Road, but it is actually a state road.
Okay.
That's the road that leads down to the beach with all the moguls.
Exactly, I know exactly where it is, and I'm asking because of the water quality of Hoyt and my concern that Will's Work Road would be on this. That was the point behind my question. So it's not included in
It is
this.
not.
So it'll be taken out with this document.
Well, my understanding is that it's not factored into the numbers that we're looking at here. But, because it's listed in there, the town's considering taking that on as a road taking, but not.
No.
Because this is petition, they included it,
Right.
but it's
It's-
not.
it's-
factored
it's
into
not
the
factored in
equation.
at all.
Gotcha.
Correct.
All right. Yep, nope, that helps.
Thank you very much, that helps.
Good.
Good.
Thank you.
And we're still trying to get the state to grade that.
So back to public comment. Lori Warren? Thanks for your patience, Lori.
Lori Moran, 134 Ashumet Road. I have concerns about the proposed disc golf course. I live next door to where it's proposed to be, which is directly across from the back entrance to Heritage Park. That's where I am, and that's where it's proposed to be. The two concerns I have are the existing parking lot that's there for the fields can't handle what they have for spectators and athletes. It's very common to see cars from the back entrance all the way down to the pickleball court and back on the other side of the street when there are more than one or two games at a time. And sometimes they go down the other way of Ashumet Road. There are no shoulders on the road. Cars can't pull over, so they're parked right on the street. It's hard enough to get one car down, let alone two-way traffic. And I don't know what would happen if an emergency vehicle tried to get down there. But to add, if a golf course goes in there with 18 holes, you get 4 people teeing off every 15 minutes. You've got another 72 cars that you're going to have to find homes for if people don't carpool. There's no place to put them. And It's just always, they block my driveway. That's my problem. They park in my yard to walk across to the fields. I stop them. It's just crazy already. I just can't imagine adding that much to it. The second thing is that, I don't know if people are familiar with the shape of it. They talk about it as a 15-acre field, which sounds great, but the shape of it is like this, with this being a Shumet Road, and this is my property. It's so narrow at the beginning, it's not even 10 feet wide on town property. I question how are they going to keep the discs out of the street? It's right there. And then this part coming down is 1,200 feet of my property. How would they keep the discs and the players from crossing over, trespassing into private property? And on the monetary side, I think that we're asking for $200,000. Is that including the survey that would have to be done to establish the borders? Does that include anything that would cost to prevent the discs and players from entering either side, the street or the private property? How much would that cost? Has it been thought of? And what about taxpayers with upkeep, annual maintenance, or daily, whatever regular maintenance would be required for it? I question that, too. That's all I have.
Thank you. Arden Russell.
Good evening, Arden Russell, 32 Sturgis Lane. I want to thank you for this second opportunity to talk to the benefits of the 2% surcharge of the community preservation program to our community. First, I just want to remind everybody who's listening, that the town receives a match from the state, and the match is based directly on the local revenue that we raise from the surcharge. If we reduce the local surcharge, we get less from the state. This match is why we switched from the land bank to the community preservation program, to enable ourselves to get a percentage of funds from the state. It's an automatic match. It's averaged over 40% over the life of the program. It's not a loan, it's a direct grant, and we're able to use these funds for a multitude of pressing needs in our community. We know we have difficult financial decisions to make ahead of us, but let's take our time to do a thorough review of all of our options, the pros, the cons, the repercussions, and the possible unintended consequences of those decisions. Let's not make a rash decision grabbing the first thing that's in our line of sight. The CPC has and will continue to fund clean water initiatives. It's the community's priority to improve our water quality. Expanding the wastewater system is just one tool to do that. There are many other ways to affect improved water quality, and that's all backed by science in the Comprehensive Wastewater Management Plan. The CPC has funded many of those clean water initiatives. It's preserved 717 acres of open space. It's improved stormwater management, paid for shellfish propagation, wetland and river restoration, and the Solar Bee water circulators. In fact, since 2005, since its inception, the vast majority of community preservation funds have been allocated to clean water projects. These are locally controlled, locally funded, clean water projects. Let's not give that up. Community Preservation Committee is available to present these accomplishments that are being shown right here behind me in detail to the Select Board at a time that is convenient for them. And I'd also like to tell the community that the Community Preservation holds an annual public hearing. Our hearing this year is on September 14th, 6:30 here at Town Hall. We invite everybody to attend to share their feedback on what our community needs are and how this important program can help in keeping and preserving Mashpee's important quality of life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arden. Lynn Barbie.
Hi, Lynn Barbie, 73 Surf Drive. I'm very happy that the CPC will be on the Select Board agenda for discussion next week. I believe that many Mashpee residents have no idea how many projects or what projects the CPC has sponsored. So we will have some time to clarify that. And I will reiterate what Arden said about inviting people to the September 14th hearing, where we will do our best to answer all the questions. I just want to very briefly address the fake dichotomy of it's either housing or sewering. We can do both. We are doing both. The most recent example is the $800,000 the CPC provided to the Mary LeClaire project. The Mary LeClaire Village needed more funds than originally estimated. They are installing a wastewater system. They asked the CPC for an additional $800,000. The CPC supports wastewater and housing, and the two can and must be combined, as we may need to do housing where the town sewer won't come for before I'm gone, before I'm under the grass, as they say. That may mean that a housing project is more expensive than one would like, so we need to keep the 2%. That way, the CPC can continue to support affordable housing like the Mary LeClaire Village, and we can do housing and wastewater. Thank you. And we have just a few petitions that people have signed to that effect, that we want to keep the 2%.
I'm going to give these to the party secretary. Thank you.
Thank you, Len. Dennis Balzerini? I think he left. Brian Whedon?
Brian Whedon, 133 Main Street. I'm here to speak about petition article number 9. This article helped to expand the Old Indian Cemetery located at the Mashpee Tribes Reservation, currently located at 410 Meeting House Road, and support placing the parcel in trust on behalf of the Mashpee Tribe for future generations of tribal citizens. Currently, the Old Indian Meeting House Cemetery is on a 12-acre lot when the original deed for the meeting house included 400 acres back in the late 1600s when religion was forced upon our people and we became known as the quote-unquote praying Indians. This site was also listed on the National Register of Historical Places in 1998, as it is the oldest Native American church in the eastern United States and the oldest church on Cape Cod. The Great Neck Woods Cemetery, located on Great Neck Road South, currently sits on a 19-acre parcel and was opened in 2002 and is currently owned and operated by the town. However, prior to the town cemetery, the Old Indian Meeting House served as the town cemetery, which still has non-tribal members buried there, and in the spirit of the IGA, the tribe continues to honor their wishes to be buried with their loved ones. The Old Indian Cemetery is limited on space. It is open to all tribal citizens and their spouses. With the current tribal population around 4,000 and the rate the tribe is losing people, we eventually will run out of space. This article will not interfere with the IGA between the town and the tribe, because that agreement was the town's way to protect itself from a land suit, because the title and deed still belongs to the quote-unquote South Sea Indians or tribe. And the legal merits on this case had never been heard back when the tribe sued the town in the 70s for the illegal taking of this land. In fact, this is why today town residents still have a special insurance on their property, just in case the quote-unquote Indians take back their land. The IGA has been honored regardless of the legal arguments that can be made to challenge this document, along with the fact that it's a different day and age both in the town and the tribe. If the tribe was to take legal action for the parcel, that would be in violation of the IGA. However, following the process that was done in 2008 has no impact on the current terms in the agreement. In fact, in the IGA between the town and the tribe, on page 5, section 2, the tribe agrees, the last sentence at the top of the page reads as follows. Furthermore, nothing herein shall prevent or preclude the tribe and town from engaging in negotiations or transactions subsequent to the date of this agreement regarding the transfer of title to or interest in any town properties upon terms mutually acceptable to the parties. If the town wishes to have the discussion with the tribe is more than willing. However, I filed this petition as an individual citizen and taxpayer outside of my capacity as the chairman of the tribe. And the tribe did take a vote to support both petitions filed by private citizen Talia Landry and myself. Just like the select board is the governing body for the town, the tribal council is the governing authority for the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe. And any further conversations around the IGA should be on a government-to-government level. Katabatush, thank you for allowing me to educate the community and speaking on this issue before you this evening. Let us work in the spirit of unity as our new town seal represent a connected community that works together and not against one another. This is a different day and age in both the town and the tribe, and we welcome meaningful consultation when it comes to our beloved Mashpee. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Whedon. Talia Landry?
Fidgety when I said. Hi guys, Talia Landry, 70 Cape Drive, Mashpee. So I am here tonight because I noticed on your agenda that you guys were going into executive session to discuss the petition article. So this is pertaining to, I believe it's Article 11, the petition article that I put in for the 3 parcels of property that are located off of Lake Avenue, which create what we traditionally know as 12 acres. So I did want to come tonight to speak a little bit on it, considering the petition article only had brief information of what the intent of the parcels were for, but I wanted to, put a little bit more emphasis of how much work and planning has been put into this, and for the overall efforts of what we're trying to do here. So for those who have been here since the 70s or have actually seen the documentary of Mashpee 9, this is the same 3 parcels of land that make up the 12 acres that this same project, this pre-contact traditional Wampanoag traditional village site, is set to, that we're trying to recreate here. So within this mission of this efforts of this grant project, which I am a grant manager in the education department for the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe. So this is a project that is fully funded and has a few years to execute it, but we are in efforts of trying to find the right amount of property to be able to do that. And I know within the IJ, it does kind of encourage situations like this with projects that are, for the public. It's for education, cultural perseverance, economic development, job creation. It's in the historic district, and it actually can help clean up the waters that it's abutting. So it's kind of a win-win within all of our efforts as far as residents, natives, and non-natives. So within our mission to recreate this village, and it's an effort to traditionally educate the tribal community and general public on accurate Wampanoag history and culture through interactive pre-contact homestead exhibits. So the plan to recreate this village will support tribal and social convergence through the arts, cultural perseverance, and education to enhance the relationship within the entire local community. So the corporate vision within this recreation of this village is to create a traditional safe space and environment for the tribal community to learn, work, and thrive while exposing the local community and its educators to Indigenous knowledge and history. Mutual understandings amongst cultures in a shared community contribute to a thriving environment while boost local economy by attracting educational institutions and tourism. So a big part of this is within my grant, we have made several partnering districts within the school district. So that's Mashpee, Falmouth, Barnstable, Sandwich, and Bourne, and Wareham. And within that, they do mass curriculum has standards that they have to uphold within educating their students, and Wampanoag culture is within that. And they have been normally been going to Plymouth Plantation, and through our districts, our partnerships, we have vetoed that field trip for them because of what has come of the Native American programming there. And they are, within their partnership, they are actually exposed to these certain traditional skills and creation of this ahead of time before open to the public. So just a general understanding that this it's open to the public. Anybody, Mashpee residents will still have the same access to the property as they do now. All efforts to, clean up the waters as well as the environment around there is going into this within the educational aspect and traditional. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right. Yep. Discussion and approval of the following special event temporary sign permit, Link Wampanoag Perspective, Aboriginal Rights Community Park, October 8th, 2023, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
The date has been changed to October 1st. Let's note.
And Rachel Hicks.
All right. Hi, I'm Rachel Hicks, 19 Pine Road. And so LINK is an acronym for Linking Indigenous and Non-Indigenous Knowledge. We're a 501c3, which started about a year and a half ago. And this event, we're requesting 11 to 5, but the event itself is from 1 to 3:30. We're just requesting the extended time for setup.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? So it's 1 to 3:30, you
The event
said?
itself is 1 to 3:30. It's we're having a panel of 5 people that are going to discuss the Clean Water Act, water access, invasive species, and food sovereignty.
Anybody have any questions?
Sounds like a really important program that'll be good for the community.
Yeah?
A motion? You have any questions? A motion to approve the special permit?
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a first and second. Any discussion? Not hearing it? David?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Kayla?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Okay, special event, pass-through race, 39th Autumn Escape Bike Trek, September 24th, 2023, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Temporary sign permit, oh no, temporary sign permit's next. So Escape Bike Trek. Is anybody here to speak to it?
No, I don't believe, no, nobody is going to be here for either of these next ones. They are traditionally just
Just
a
the same.
continuation
And then the,
of a yearly event that happens. And this trek just goes through Mashpee. It's just letting us know they're
Just
going
a-
through. It's not
a
anything.
motion to approve the 39th annual Autumn Escape Bike Trek.
Second.
All right, first and second, any discussion? Not hearing any? Michaela?
Yes.
Yes.
Tom? Carol?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Unanimous. And again, temporary sign permit, Seaside Le Mans, September, it says 3rd through the 9th.
Oh, the sign permits for the
Is it 3 to 9?
That's the,
Oh, the third to nine.
that's for the
For the
sign
sign.
permit.
Gotcha.
The length of time.
Because I thought we already gave them. No, okay.
All right, any questions on sign permit, Seaside Le Mans? Can I have a
A
motion?
motion to approve Seaside of Le Mans sign permit.
Second.
I have a first and second, any discussion? Not hearing any? David?
Yes.
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 And I'm a yes. All right. Jump down, I believe. Discussion and approval of accepting the following resignations. Mashpee Historical District Commissioner Michael Robbins, member at large, term expires June 30th, 2026.
A motion to accept with regret.
I'll second that motion.
All right, first and second, any discussion? Not hearing any?
Yes.
Michaela? Tom?
Yes.
Yes.
And David?
Yes.
Also have Mashpee Wakeby Lake Management Committee, MWLMC, Michael Rapaz, term expires June 30th, 2024.
A motion to approve with regret.
Second that motion.
I have a first and second, any discussion? Not hearing any? Start with you, Michaela?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Yes.
Cheryl? David?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Design and Review Committee, Tyler Goodrow, member at large, term expires June 30th, 2024.
A motion to approve with regret.
Second the motion.
I have first and second, any discussion? Not hearing any, I'll start with David.
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Yes.
And Michaela?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. All right. H2. Okay. Communications correspondence, letter from Mashpee Wampanoag Tribe regarding petition articles that we just heard of from Talia and Mr. Wheaton. And anybody have any questions or anybody feel it good? All right. New business, discussion and approval of sending letters of support to the following. Mass DEP's draft determination denying Holtec International's application for the modified surface water discharge permit. That's a mouthful, right? I believe that's, I'll hand it off to Michaela.
Oh, okay. As you know, people are being asked, individuals are being asked, towns and other organizations are being asked to support the EPA's decision, the Mass DEP's decision, to restrict, to permit, to Holtec, to not permit them to put radioactive waste into Cape Cod Bay.
Yep.
So,
And I think there's a number of towns that have already signed on to this, correct?
towns and organizations have, and individuals are encouraged to as well. You know, the decision was made, it's based on science, and it's based on law.
Right. Does anybody have any, Mr.?
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
I mean, I
Anybody have any-
have to agree, you know, our coastal areas are being challenged by the increase in water temperature and all the other stressors. You know, we don't need to put in radioactive waste, accelerate that process and cause, you know, rub salt in the wound. So, you know, I think it is a no-brainer that, you know, they need to find alternative means.
Those are my words, no-brainer, like, really?
So
a motion to send a letter of
Second.
support.
First and second, any discussion? Kayla?
Yes.
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 And the deadline for comment is August 28th at 5 o'clock, so.
Oh, okay.
No pressure there.
All right. Next one is Cape Cod Water Protection Fund Management Board request for the restoration of 25% subsidy. You don't
Me too.
Okay.
Okay.
Please.
Initially, it was projected that the fund would have sufficient funding to give that 25% forgiveness to loans. That's where we've received that 25% forgiveness for our SRF loans. Because of the depth of requests for funds, they've gone from, I think, 60 million to 167 million just recently. I'm looking, 22 and 23, 108 million in 22 and 167 million in 23. We've reached a point where you can't honor the 25% beyond this year. So the board recommended that and approved that forgiveness has to be cut to 12%. Having cut it to 12%, the board also requested that the state replenish the funds, starting with $5 million in 2024 and then $66 million over the subsequent 3 years, so that the board can actually grant the 25% forgiveness. So that's what we're asking the state to do. I think the Assembly delegates have this on, I know the Assembly delegates have this on their agenda. Barnstable has sent in a letter. Groups are sending in letters to support. It makes a huge difference in the amount of money we and other Cape towns are going to receive as we move forward with wastewater.
Yeah, I don't think there's much, can anybody see any reason why not to support this one?
You don't ask, you won't get it.
Right. So they're asking for a letter of support?
And this is the letter of support.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the
that
draft,
the town
so.
manager's office put
Okay.
together. And it really captures all of the figures, the importance of this to Mashpee as we move forward, and the importance to other Cape towns.
Any other feedback? If not, I'll consider a motion of support
Motion to
for the draft
support.
letter.
A motion to support the draft letter.
I'll second that motion.
All right, first and second. Any further discussion? Not hearing any? Kayla? Tom?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And I'm an absolute yes. All right. Old business, discussion and reconsideration of placing the article submitted by the Community Preservation Committee for funding for the 18-hole disc golf course of Ashumet Road back on October 16, 2023, from town meeting warrant. So if anybody has any thoughts on it, if not, I mentioned it at the end of towards the end of last meeting, that I would just put it out there if there's a motion to reconsider to putting it back on the warrant article. And I don't have a motion? Okay. All right. Moving on. Discussion and approval of adding,
Sorry, do I have an opportunity to speak on that?
not really, I'm sorry, Drew. It was just under reconsideration, and
So no opportunity to speak?
No.
sorry.
Okay.
Discussion and approval of adding the following articles to October 16th, 2023 town meeting warrant. First one is option 9 wastewater project design and engineering funding. So, Mr. Collins, what we're looking to do is, you're looking for a vote of
Recommending the article.
recommending and adding it.
Yes. And do you have the figure? Do they have the figure?
Yes.
All right. Should be 7.5.
Yes, 7.5.
These are both very important articles to be put on.
Yes.
So,
So I need you to,
motion to add and then,
a motion to add and approve for October.
a motion to.
And you've already voted to put that in my goals. I can't achieve it if you don't put it on.
What are you trying to say?
Yeah. A motion to add and approve.
All right, first and second, any discussion? Not having any? Michaela?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
And then,
The next one up is reduction of Community Preservation Act surcharge, which we would reduce it from 2% to 1%. I put this up under discussion a while back. I have gotten some answers, including some answers as far as state matches and things like that. And at this time, I don't have any interest in proceeding forward at this time, but I'm only one.
and I agree. But if we do need to come back at this at a later date, I think we should.
And
look
I
at
think,
it.
I think over time, we have to kind of bring things, topics up that maybe it's tough to talk about, but maybe get some facts. And I think at the same time, it probably did bring some exposure to CPC, which is not a bad thing, because there's a lot of great things that CPC does. So if I don't see a motion to add it to the, or a motion, actually, it would be a
You'd
motion to
have
withdraw
to
it.
make a motion to add, because right now
We're
it's
not
not
going to
on.
add.
Right.
So if you
there's
don't
no-
have a motion to add, then it's not on.
It's, right.
Mr. Chairman, I do need to make a motion on the wastewater. We approved adding it to the articles, but now we need to also, for the ballot, to vote to put it on the ballot as a proposed question for November 7th special election.
That is correct.
So
It
I
needs-
move motion.
Second.
Okay. All right, first and a second. And this is to add it to the ballot.
Yes.
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 Carol?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm a yes.
I didn't want that to go by.
No, I'm glad you did that. And then the increase for water infrastructure investment fund, that would only pertain if we did something with CPC. So,
Which is a moot point.
moot point.
Right.
Okay. If everyone's good with that, we're going to move on to discussion and approval of November 7th, 2023 special town election ballot questions and for option 9, and forget that. And CPC whiff will,
So that should be stricken based on your
Correct.
vote.
Right.
Or I should say lack of And then we would be putting this on the ballot.
So, so November,
You do need to approve the special election, but I think.
Yes, we just did it.
You
I just
you
did it.
just did that.
Yeah.
right, so that's,
We just did it.
The special election, not...
This, I said November 7th, the
Okay,
special
I
election.
apologize.
Yes,
I apologize.
right, for the ballot.
She was a step ahead of you.
Yes, she
Yes, I
definitely
was.
yeah. Trying to make sure I keep up with all these notes.
Okay, next.
you got it, I'll let you, if you don't mind, you got to come to the mic real quick. If you don't mind.
Richard Klein, 205 Asher's Path. What was the decision on the CPC?
We're not putting it.
Take no position.
You're taking no position
Right.
at this time, so
It's
it's not
not
moving
gonna go in
forward.
front of-
Okay, thank you.
You got it.
It's not on there. They had to vote to add it. Yeah.
Yep, no problem. All right, so we're all set with this special town election, right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Collins? Okay. Discussion and approval of the following ballot question for November 7th, special town election. And we did all that.
Now we're doing the warrant.
Approval,
That was kind of.
draft number 3.
Yep. We kind of just heard the first couple of,
It's repeated, that's why.
well, we had to make the motions.
All right, so discussion and approval of recommendation of draft number 3. So we just heard, just,
I can do the motions.
you want to,
Yeah.
because
A motion
You wanna do it with
to
changes?
approve. Yeah, I'd like to do it that way. I'd like a motion to approve and add with the restriction of that last, on Article 1, on the floodplain zone, if we could,
so we'll strike that last sentence.
that sentence.
Is that correct?
Uh-huh. And add, and, oh yeah, that's, I just was reading my note.
So for Article 1, it's striking for the purpose of this?
Yes.
Section, yeah.
For the purpose of this section, any lot in which partially located within the floodplain zone or related district shall be subject to the fill prohibitions described within 174-67.
That he explained.
So does anybody have any questions on that?
I guess my only question would be, planning brought this forward initially, didn't it?
I know.
I'd like to hear from them on what we're proposing to strike. Just for consideration
I'm not-
purposes. I mean, we heard from zoning, but now, since, it wasn't zoning that put it forward, I'd like to hear from the people that actually worked on drafting the language initially, just
And do we have time for,
before.
We do. Well,
Okay.
But we
But they
have to
have to
have
be-
them into the next meeting, which is the 28th, I believe.
Terry.
Yeah, 28, yes, sir. And you're executing that
Executing.
night.
You'd be executing that.
so are they meeting prior to that?
Planning board?
Yes.
I don't-
We have the chairman here.
I'm not looking for them to vote on it.
We can get
I'm
them.
not looking for them to vote on it, just to hear the position, town planner and
Yeah,
the
no.
chair,
Right.
minimally to speak to it.
Yes. No. There's no meeting of the planning board.
So we'd
I'm
have to
happy
have-
with the chair getting with the town planner and just coming forward and responding to what was
Yeah,
discussed
I-
tonight.
I can arrange it.
I don't need to have them take a position on it. The two that worked on it, I feel comfortable hearing their side.
We-
I'd like to hear.
We can have them here.
Okay.
I'm good with that. I like that idea.
So
'cause
we'll put
it's-
that one on hold. You want to put them all on hold then?
That one particular, I
Okay.
mean, the rest of them, I think they were all in favor of pretty much. I mean.
Well, they wanted to change some of the
They
fee.
wanted to change
Oh, yes.
Article 3.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe we should.
All right, so we're going to hold
So,
on
yeah,
one.
I'd like to hear their position on that.
Let's go right-
Each of them.
As Article 2, there was no changes.
No.
So
Yeah, so,
Article 2, I motion to approve and add, because there was no changes.
so it's,
Second.
so it's add and recommend.
Add and recommend.
So motion to add and recommend,
Second.
and it's first and second. Any discussion? Not hearing any. David?
Yes.
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 And I'm a yes.
Article 3, we will hold.
Motion to hold?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
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 In Article 4, there was just some wording, boarding and lodging.
I guess,
We wanted those removed.
Oh, I thought it was just add lease.
Add lease.
Add
lease.
lease, right, add lease. Do you want to have him come in?
Well, he's gonna,
That one too?
No, I mean,
They're gonna
that
be here
that one
anyway.
made sense. I mean, it was
Okay.
pretty simple.
Adding
So,
lease.
motion to approve and recommend Article 4.
4.
With
Second.
the
With
addition
edits.
of lease.
With the edit.
Right, with the addition.
With the addition of lease and have lease on file.
Right.
I believe was the
Lease on
recommendation.
file.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Is that good enough clarification?
Yeah, I think so.
Adding lease and,
I think that's what he said it was.
that's what they said.
Yes.
yeah, okay. And did I have a motion?
He did, David motion, did I second?
Second?
Second.
I have first and second. Any discussion? Not hearing it? Michaela?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So 4 were good.
Article 5,
5, Mashpee.
the tree.
3.
The tree.
Carol, would you like to come up?
I wasn't planning on coming up, but I thought we were going to have a special meeting next week to really go through everything with you.
At the next selectman meeting, next week.
Next Monday?
Okay.
or 2
Okay,
weeks?
so we can,
I think is it
Next Monday.
You have to
It's
do it
next
next
Monday.
Monday.
I would
Next
like
Monday.
to come back next Monday.
No, that's perfect.
We'll have it nailed down totally.
okay.
Perfect. Well, because we have a few others, so that's perfect.
A motion to.
Thank you.
Hold Article 5.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, for a second. I don't even think we have to vote on it, but do we? All right,
To
all in
hold,
favor?
yes.
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 Tom?
Yes.
Yes.
We're holding on 5.
Holding 5.
Article 5. Hold.
There's not many left.
Article 6, a motion to approve and add. It's the percentages, 10% for open space.
Second.
It's the normal percentages.
Motion to approve and recommend Article 6 as presented.
I just said that.
Oh.
Second.
Second on that?
Yeah.
All right, first, David seconded. First, second, any other questions? Discussion? Michaela?
Yes.
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Carol? David?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Motion to approve and recommend Article 7.
And,
And add.
all right, we have a motion to approve Article 7
And add.
Second.
And
All right.
add to the warrant.
and add to the warrant, correct? First and second, any other discussion? Not hearing any. David?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Yes.
Tom? Michaela?
Yes.
Article 8, see the town vote to authorize and empower select board to prepare a plan layout defining Godfrey Road. That's not, is that? That's
No, that
petition.
wasn't tonight.
Petition.
And
Petition.
a petition article.
That's it.
Wow. The rest are just
This
petitions.
is the smallest.
I think this is probably the smallest.
This is definitely the smallest that I've, in
Warrant
8
we've
years.
ever had.
3/4 of it is the tree article.
It better be good, Karen.
It's a lot of pressure. We might have to do away with a book and just pass out a big, single, two-sided page.
No.
Are you going to take any stand on the petition articles?
I don't intend to.
Well, I'm just asking,
Yeah.
because right now you don't. I just want to make sure. Okay.
I mean, we have another chance next week if we decide to. Discussion approval, I know we're all set with that. Additional topics, liaison reports? Water quality updates? I think we kind of
Just the
covered them in our letters of support, right?
The two letters of support,
Yeah.
yes.
Town manager updates?
There's been a lot of inquiries regarding the cell tower, and I think a lot of people were aware, but apparently some were not, that we did run into an issue relative to the osprey nest that is up there. So the last I knew, Verizon has not been able to make the adjustments that they were hoping to make. And additionally, AT&T has not added to the tower yet. T-Mobile, as I understand it, was planning on adding, but have not done that yet. But they are in the works. So I don't know what else to say other than we may not be able to see those adjustments until the osprey flies out.
And they've already started leaving. It's quiet on the island.
They get up there quick, didn't they? Well, thanks for the update. Is that it for town manager updates? Thank you. Any other last things? If not, I'll seek a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn?
First, second, all in favor?
Yes.
Well done.